Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel.
Hi guys, welcome back. Today, we are diving into a tangled web of long-buried secrets, deep-rooted family ties, and an emotional search for truth that could shake the foundations of multiple lives. This isn't just a simple case of a past coming back to haunt someone, it's about identity, deception, and the staggering impact that one hidden truth can have on generations. Imagine waking up one day and realizing that your entire past, everything you thought you knew about your family, was a carefully orchestrated illusion. Imagine learning that the people closest to you have been keeping a massive secret, not for weeks or months, but for decades. That's exactly what's happening in this explosive saga, and trust me, this revelation is going to change everything. Let's break it all down. A secret adoption that was never supposed to surface. Lois Cerullo had convinced herself that the truth about Brook Lynn's child would never be exposed. After all, the adoption had been handled privately, so privately that even Brook Lynn herself had never been given full details. Lois had been determined to protect her daughter, to spare her the heartbreak of raising a child when she was barely more than a child herself. But was it truly protection? Or was it control? At the time, Lois saw it as the only way forward. She knew that teenage pregnancy came with a flood of emotions, guilt, fear, uncertainty. So she stepped in, orchestrating everything behind the scenes, making sure that the baby was placed into a situation where Brook Lynn would never feel the pain of having to let go of a child she had barely known. Lois thought she had done the right thing. She thought she had built an airtight plan. But airtight plans have a way of falling apart. Now, years later, Brook Lynn is starting to ask questions. And Lois? She's panicking. Brook Lynn's search for the truth. At first, Brook Lynn didn't even want to think about it. The idea of revisiting a past she had locked away in her heart was too overwhelming. But when she finally opened up to Chase, something changed. Chase, ever the protector, ever the investigator, was not about to let this go unanswered. "Don't you want to know what happened?" he asked her. It was such a simple question. And yet, it cracked open something inside her that she had buried for so long. Brook Lynn realized she couldn't go on living without knowing where her child was, or even if they were alive. That thought haunted her. What if something had happened? What if the baby had ended up in a bad situation? Or, perhaps even more complicated, what if the child was searching for her just as she was searching for them? Once the decision was made, there was no turning back. Brook Lynn needed answers. Chase steps in, and the investigation begins. Brook Lynn and Chase decide to start with the adoption agency. That seems like the most logical step. Adoption agencies keep records, right? There must be something, somewhere. But this is where the first crack in Lois' story begins to show. Lois doesn't just hesitate. She panics. She immediately shuts down the idea of searching through an agency, claiming she doesn't remember the details, that she never had any paperwork, that she only signed something at the hospital, and that was it. Brook Lynn knows her mother too well to believe this. If Lois really had no information, why was she so visibly shaken? Why was she so desperate to stop Brook Lynn from looking? Chase, ever the detective, starts putting things together. And the more he digs, the more suspicious it all seems. If this was a legal adoption, why wouldn't there be records? Why wouldn't Lois have at least some recollection of the agency involved? Then it dawns on them, what if there was no agency at all? The shocking truth, it was never a traditional adoption. Lois had never been honest about how the adoption was handled. And for good reason. Because it wasn't handled legally. Instead of placing Brook Lynn's baby with an agency, Lois had arranged for a private adoption within the family. But here's where things take an even darker turn. The father's identity was kept a secret too. Not just from Brook. Not just from Chase. But from everyone. Not even Dante Falconeri, the child's own father, knew the truth. And then, the bombshell: the child wasn't just placed with any random family. He was raised by someone they all knew. A grandfather's unwitting role in his grandson's life for years, Sonny Corinthos has been unknowingly paying for the education of his own grandson. It's a cruel irony, one that echoes the past in a way that feels almost too unbelievable. Decades ago, Sonny had unknowingly shot his own son, Dante, in a tragic moment of mistaken identity. And now? He has been financially supporting his grandson's future, completely oblivious to the connection. History is repeating itself, and the weight of that truth is crushing. But it gets worse. Because if Sonny Corinthos, one of the most powerful men in town, finds out that this information has been kept from him, the fallout could be catastrophic. What happens now? Brook, and Chase are inching closer to the truth with every step they take. But Lois is fighting against it with everything she has. She's terrified that if the truth comes out, her daughter will never forgive her. She's afraid that Dante will be furious. That Olivia Quartermain will be heartbroken. That Sonny, when he finally connects the dots, will never forgive her for keeping his grandson a secret. But what scares Lois the most? The possibility that the child himself might feel betrayed. A person's entire identity is built on the belief that they know who they are. What if he feels like his whole life has been a lie? What if this truth shatters everything he believed about himself? This isn't just about a missing adoption record. This is about a stolen past. A hidden identity. A family that has been unknowingly fractured for decades. And now? The truth is coming. No matter how hard Lois tries to stop it, Brook, and Chase are on the path to uncovering everything. And when they do, nothing will ever be the same again. Guys, this story is only getting started, and trust me, there is so much more to come. Stay tuned, because once the truth finally explodes, the fallout is going to be absolutely devastating. Next, we're diving into one of the most burning questions in the General Hospital fandom: is Guy Wilson here to stay as the new Lucky Spencer? This topic has stirred up a firestorm of debate, emotions, and divided opinions among fans, and we're about to unpack all the details. So, grab your popcorn because this discussion is about to get intense. What's next for Lucky and Liz? The rekindling of Lucky Spencer and Elizabeth Weber's relationship was a long-anticipated moment for General Hospital fans, and the excitement had been building for quite some time. Viewers had been waiting for that first kiss in years, imagining the emotional weight it would carry. But when the scene finally aired, many were caught off guard. The reason? Jonathan Jackson wasn't there to film it. Instead of the original Lucky stepping into this major moment, fans were surprised to see Guy Wilson in the role. And that single casting decision sparked an outcry across social media. People weren't just upset, they were questioning whether this meant Guy Wilson was permanently taking over the role of Lucky Spencer. Was this a temporary casting decision? Or was this a sign that the General Hospital team had decided to move on from JJ completely? That's the question that's been bouncing around fan forums, Twitter threads, and comment sections ever since. And as of now, the producers have remained completely silent. No statements, no confirmations, just speculation and fan theories running wild. Fan reactions. A heated debate. If there's one thing that General Hospital fans are known for, it's their passion. And this situation has definitely brought out strong emotions on both sides. Some fans were surprisingly supportive of Guy Wilson's performance. They acknowledged the pressure of stepping into such an iconic role, especially during such a pivotal moment in Lucky and Liz's history. One viewer commented, "I thought he did a great job considering how complex those few scenes were. Sucks to have a sub, but this guy did one hell of a job." Another agreed, saying, "I wish they had been able to save Liz and Lucky's first kiss in what feels like centuries for JJ's return, but Guy stepped in and did a good job." Some even praised how Wilson managed to capture the essence of Lucky, with one fan noting, "He wasn't bad. His voice and mannerisms reminded me of JJ. JJ is the only real Lucky for me, though." But then, there was the other side of the debate. Some die-hard General Hospital fans weren't having it at all. They felt that this moment should have been preserved for Jonathan Jackson, no matter the circumstances. They were frustrated that the show didn't wait for his return to give fans the Lucky and Liz moment they truly wanted. One particularly vocal fan vented, "Hate it. But it's not the actor's fault. He just wasn't lucky for me. Glad it was only 2 episodes. Hate that Lucky and Liz's first kiss wasn't with JJ, though." Another added, "That's the only thing I was upset about. Couldn't they have just rewritten that part last minute to another almost kiss?" And then came the biggest question of all, I wonder if other actors passed on the assignment. Can you imagine having to come in behind the OG for 2 important scenes? The pressure on Guy Wilson was undeniable. Whether you loved or hated his portrayal, there's no denying that he walked into a nearly impossible situation. The big question, is Guy Wilson here to stay? This is the mystery at the center of it all. Is Guy Wilson a long-term replacement for Lucky Spencer? Or was this just a temporary fix while Jonathan Jackson was unavailable? So far, the General Hospital team has remained tight-lipped about their plans. But the way they handled this situation has raised eyebrows. If Guy Wilson was just a short-term stand-in, why give him such a crucial, emotional scene? Wouldn't it have made more sense to delay that moment for when Jonathan Jackson could return? That's why some fans suspect that Wilson might actually be sticking around. Maybe the showrunners are testing the waters, gauging the audience's reaction before making any final casting decisions. And let's be honest, soap operas are no strangers to shocking recasts. They've done it with major characters before, and they can do it again. The question is, are fans ready to embrace a new Lucky? Could there be a deeper reason behind the recast? Some fans have speculated that this wasn't just about scheduling conflicts. Could there be behind-the-scenes drama we don't know about? Soap operas operate on tight schedules, and sometimes actors have contract disputes, creative differences, or personal obligations that prevent them from returning. If Jonathan Jackson had scheduling conflicts, why didn't they wait for him to be available? Unless, of course, there's more to the story. Could the General Hospital team be phasing out Jonathan Jackson entirely? It's a theory that some fans refuse to accept, but others believe it's a real possibility. After all, if Jackson was guaranteed to return, wouldn't they have just waited a little longer for that key moment? What happens next? Right now, everything is up in the air. No official statements have been made, and the future of Lucky Spencer remains uncertain. Fans will just have to keep watching to see if Guy Wilson's presence is temporary or permanent. Will we see Jonathan Jackson return to reclaim his role? Or is this the beginning of a new era for Lucky Spencer? One thing is for sure, this casting choice has shaken up the fandom, and the debate isn't dying down anytime soon. What do you think? Now, I want to hear your thoughts. Did you like Guy Wilson's portrayal of Lucky? Do you think Jonathan Jackson should have been there for Lucky and Liz's first kiss? Should General Hospital have waited for him, or was the recast necessary? Next, we're diving into one of the biggest mysteries currently unraveling in General Hospital. What exactly did Colette ask Brennan to leave behind in the cabin? This burning question has sparked endless speculation, heated debates, and wild theories among fans. Was it something incriminating? A clue pointing to a much bigger storyline? Or could it be something so shocking that it changes everything we thought we knew about Port Charles? Let's break it all down and examine every possible twist and turn. What's next in Port Charles? As always, General Hospital is keeping us on our toes, and this storyline is no exception. Whatever Colette asked Brennan to leave behind in the cabin, it clearly has major implications for some of the biggest characters in Port Charles. The stakes are high, and the fallout from this revelation could send shockwaves throughout the town. One of the most intriguing fan theories revolves around Jason Morgan. Could the item in question be something that ties Jason to a crime he didn't commit? Given Jason's complicated history with Brennan, this theory doesn't seem too far-fetched. In fact, some fans believe that Brennan has been laying a trap for Jason all along, one that forces him into a corner where he has no choice but to work for Brennan. Another strong possibility? Jocelyn or Carly could be implicated. If there's one thing we know about Brennan, it's that he plays the long game. He might have anticipated that Jason would never willingly work for him. But if he had leverage over someone Jason loves, that could change everything. Could the evidence left behind in the cabin be something that threatens Jocelyn's future or puts Carly in danger? Then there's Drew Kane. We already know that Drew and Jason have had some serious tension since Jason's return. If whatever was left behind in the cabin somehow involves Drew, it could complicate things even further. Fans have already started speculating that Drew might turn against Jason, especially if his alibi is questioned. If Brennan's goal was to divide and conquer, it looks like he's well on his way to succeeding. Fan reactions. A storm of theories whenever a major mystery unfolds in General Hospital. You can bet that the internet will be flooded with theories. And this storyline has certainly delivered on that front. One fan speculated, something that implicates Jason. Because Brennan always told Jason that one day he would work for him whether he wanted to or not. Another chimed in, or something that implicates Joss or Carly, because Jason will work for Brennan for that reason too. But the speculation doesn't stop there. Some fans believe that Spinelli, Port Charles's resident tech genius, might be the key to solving this mystery. One hopeful fan wrote, "Hopefully, Spinelli can hack into the security cameras and prove Jason was at Drew's and not the cabin." And then, there's the most shocking theory of all, one that could connect all the dots in a way that no one saw coming. Could it be a setup? Some eagle-eyed viewers are wondering if this entire situation is a setup from the very beginning. What if the real goal of leaving something behind in the cabin wasn't to frame Jason or Carly, but to create enough confusion and doubt that no one knows what to believe? Brennan is known for his manipulative tactics, and he might have orchestrated this entire scenario to create mistrust among key players in Port Charles. If this theory holds true, we could see Jason forced into working with Brennan against his will. Drew questioning Jason's loyalty. Jocelyn and Carly caught in the middle of something much bigger. And let's not forget Cyrus Renaud. If Cyrus is somehow tied to whatever was left behind in the cabin, this could mean we are looking at a much larger criminal web than anyone anticipated. Breaking down the cabin clue, let's get into the specifics. According to the latest episode, Brennan instructed Colette to clean out the cabin, except for one item. That small detail is what has fans speculating non-stop. Some believe it could have been hospital and nursing home patient name tags, which would tie back to Cyrus Renaud's operations. Others suggest it could be a piece of evidence that directly incriminates someone high-profile, perhaps something that was planted there on purpose. One fan theory suggests the cabin was owned by the Holt family, and they suspected that Cyrus might have been hiding there due to his ties to them. Another viewer questioned how thorough the cleanup could have been, If they find no evidence that he was there, the logical assumption would be that he had never been there. I just find it impossible to believe that they could have removed all of his DNA from the place in such a short time. If we know anything about General Hospital, it's that secrets never stay buried for long. Whatever was left behind in the cabin, it will resurface in the most dramatic way possible. The final question, who will be exposed? Now, we're left with the biggest question of all, who will be the one to suffer the consequences of this revelation? Will Jason be forced into a dangerous alliance with Brennan? Will Jocelyn or Carly become pawns in a much bigger game? Or will Drew's involvement turn the tables in an unexpected way? One thing's for sure, Port Charles is about to be rocked by another massive twist. Your thoughts? Now, I want to hear your theories. What do you think was left behind in the cabin? Do you believe this is a setup to frame Jason, or is something bigger at play? How do you think Cyrus Renault fits into all of this? Drop a comment below and let's discuss. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more General Hospital updates. See you next time, and stay tuned, because this mystery is far from over. Rocket.
Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon. Bye.